Sarah Vaughan quotes, I want to be able to make music without any interference from the record company whatsoever. She never liked labels. She admitted that she was a big Judy Garland fan, said she was an inspiration to her, and she liked Doris Day. She did Misty, you remember that. When I listened to Sarah Vaughan and she was working with Quincy Jones, etc., you knew musically, she said they call me a jazz singer, but I'm whatever you could, when you are that talented, you can cover so many uh, elements that it's hard to just get labeled. Industry is always labeled, especially, and she says always the same questions. Where'd you start singing? Why? They just basically run out of things to say because, it's a black artist. They got like a handful of things they're going to ask you. But the totality, the depth of her, the magnitude of her, she was a singer. She was an artist. She was represented. When you heard her tone, there was no questions about it. She was one of the greatest to ever do it. And the interference from the rug companies is nothing new. These rug companies have always owned you, treated you like you were a slave, and want you to do what they want you to do. Never mind that you're versatile. Never mind you can sing all different styles. They want to put you in a box, and that's kind of how they keep you in the box. They keep you kind of like, dependent on them. And so I like how she spoke about, yeah, I wish they would just let me be me and do my thing. Because the end of the day, it's about hit records and about what works. And artists tend to know what works for artists. Yes, you may have someone A&R, someone can recommend something, this or that. However, if an artist is in tune to what they do and they've earned that right, they should have a say in their work. You are an artist. But that's how they get you. That's how they own you. That's how they pimp you. That's what they do. So anyway, um, very distinctive vocalist. When you talk about for her era, it's Ella Fitzgerald, Carmen McRae. You're talking about Billie Holiday, etc., etc. You got to throw in Sarah Vaughan. Sarah Vaughan is right there in the middle with all that. Betty Carter. I can name. She's right there. She's one of those artists you have to mention. It is mandatory. When you hear her tones, her phrasing, you know, when you become a singer, you're like artist. People always know your distinctiveness. They know your quality. They know how you hit. They know what you are about. And, it's often the same situation. Artists want to be treated as artists. They don't want to have to be told how to paint on their canvas or what they should and what they couldn't do because they wouldn't be able to do what they did without having a little bit of everything. You do know that most artists end up singing standards and when you go to different places and things you have to be adaptable. So you're not going to go there and just be a one trick pony. You have to know other things that you do. So and that's the reality of it. But again, sometimes, often than not, these labels, these places try to put you in a box and they want you to be what they want you to be. So I like that she spoke from said what she said and she meant what she meant. Has to be said like that because there's no other if and buts about it. You have to, um, understand the dynamics of what's at work. So it's a very strong quote, and more artists have been saying that they've said it over the years. Obviously when they're not getting paid or how they get treated, but she made a point of alluding to it. So anyway, uh, very strong, very memorable. Wash your hands, keep your mind clear. Watch out for another. Shut up if you like. Stay healthy, stay safe, stay blessed, stay woke, stay free, stay true, and be all right with yourself and stay honest. All right, we'll catch you next time. Peace. The best. I'm out.